An outstanding guest today. Going to be extremely interesting to start our new year off with, and we'll be introducing her in just a moment. But we want to make sure that we talk about our sponsors, and then we'll give our telephone numbers out. But, our primary sponsor is Federal Protection. Federal Protection has been in business since 1969, late Mel Hancock's business, and now his son, Kim Hancock, and their family runs Federal Protection. And they used to start out with just bank security systems. Now they have all types of business security systems as well as your home. And we tell people, Jeff and I, we've always used Federal Protection in our businesses as well as our homes. And in today's society, you need a security system at home too, not just your business. So if you need a security system, call Federal Protection and let them know that Jeff and I sent you, and they will give you a free estimate. It won't cost you anything. They'll come out and do a complete appraisal and show you what they can do, and they have all kinds of price ranges. And then they also have a business called Federal Construction. A lot of people don't know that, but they did a project over in Republic with the new school
system. They did Clever,
Murphin's Market, Family Pharmacy, where the shopping center is. So, he does all kinds of, whether it be a standalone building or a shopping center, he can do it all. And that's Federal Construction. Again, in 2019, if you're considering remodeling, adding on, or building a new building project, call Federal Construction, at least get a bid, get some ideas of what you can do and what they can do and what it's going to cost, and I think they'll help you.
Yeah,
so,
they will.
That's good. And then, of course, we have your business.
Ozark Prosthetics and Orthotics.
Right.
We've been in business since the 1977, and we take care of a lot of people that need, that have that are amputees, that have stroke victims, people that have neck injuries, back injuries. We take care of all those people with diabetes. And so, if you need some services, be sure and call Ozark Prosthetics and Orthotics.
Yes, and you have an office in Joplin.
We do have one in Joplin and Springfield, both.
And they're both very busy places. Your business is kind of like mine was for 41 years. No one wants to go into a pharmacy. No one wants to be sick. No one wants prosthetics or orthotics.
Right.
But on the other hand, it sure is a good place to be when they need it.
Right.
And so you do great work, and you do custom work too, don't you?
Yeah, most of the stuff we do is custom. So because everybody's different.
Right. So in a way, great business right here in Springfield and Joplin. So appreciate that. And then, of course, Jeff and I, we both buy this hour. This is our hour, and so we use sponsors. So Jeff Messenger and Lynn Morris, myself, we do sponsor this program. So we're responsible for the cost of it. So we are looking for another sponsor or two, and so hopefully we can find another independent business that specializes in customer service and been around a long time that would like to be a sponsor in 2019.
Boy, 2019. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, we're working on it. Oh, I tell you, this session, I was up in Jefferson City yesterday, and the session's getting ready to start. We'll be driving up there Tuesday afternoon, and session starts on Wednesday.
Yep.
So amazing thing to think that it's the 100th session, and you and I are completing our last 2 years. So
we'll be terming out after these 2 years.
We will really be seniors, both age and
mostly age, I think.
And seniority too. So hey, we appreciate that. So we're going to go ahead and introduce our sponsor, but let's get the numbers out. 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056. You're going to want to listen to Synova Cantrell because she has written 8 books and got another book on the way. And she is #1 Southwest Missouri cold case writer. So she writes books about real missing people, cold cases, and everything that she writes about is somewhere in the United States. She has she has a blog on her Facebook that over 500,000 people look at it every week. They view it every week, and that's simply amazing. That's a few more people that you and I have listening.
Yeah, that's a few more, and I was and when I met her today, I asked her if she was the modern day Nancy Drew. So those who remember Nancy Drew will know what we're talking about. And so she's the modern day Nancy Drew.
Right. And there'll be people that may want to call in. We have cases right here in Springfield, Southwest Missouri, around the area that's never been solved. And it's really a service, I think, that she performs that is really amazing, because she goes after these hard cases that haven't been solved and helps to try to bring closure for their families and things like that. And that's just a tremendous calling to do that and to be able to write. We're going to give one of her books away today. I'm not going to tell you which caller it is, but it's going to be more than 3. And so someone needs to call in. And maybe if I like the first caller, we might give the book away. But we're going to see what happens. She's got a book out right now called Unorganized Crime. You can buy her books on Amazon or at certain bookstores. And so, Synova, welcome to our show.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
And this is not the first book she's written.
No.
She's written several
8
books.
8 books.
8 books. And she started writing, she said, when she was 5 years old.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that happened, but I don't think I could write at 5 years old.
No, you were just still scribbling.
I probably, well, I was just more, you
were doodling.
I was just placing my X's.
Okay.
Is what I was doing.
Maybe I should clarify. I was dreaming up stories at 5.
Oh, okay. All right.
I do have a so-called published book when I was 5.
Wow.
Yeah, she told me that story, was the day before yesterday. I was in Jefferson City yesterday. But yeah, so she's very interesting. So Synova, just tell us a little bit about, yourself, and then we're going to get right into some of the books. And then listeners, 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056. This is your opportunity to call in today and ask about any case that's on your mind, or anything else that's on your mind too. We're going to try to talk to you about anything, but in particular today, this is very exceptional opportunity that we have, that somebody has done a lot of research. That's what she spends her life doing, is researching cold cases, things that the police and law enforcement have not solved, and so she does a really great service. So I hope you guys will think of some cases. I can think of some, and if you all don't think of some, I guess I'll have to ask them myself. But anyway, Synova, what else do we need to you need to tell the listeners about yourself?
Oh, about me. I just write true crime books, and I use that to fund my passion, which is my cold case blog. I started out writing the cold cases by myself, and found it was much more fulfilling to get involved with the victims' families directly and give them a voice, because unfortunately, if it's not an anniversary of the event, sometimes the case is forgotten in the media, and not all cases have enough evidence to really be solved. And so what solves those cases is the fact that people talk about it, and witnesses come forward not realizing the information they had was important. Sure. And so by picking and choosing which cases you want to talk about, it actually eliminates the possibility of solving some of these cases, because that's the only way they can be solved sometimes. And so that's kind of just, I try to bridge the gap, between what mainstream media, what they talk about and what I talk about. So most of the things you see on my blog are obscure cases that a lot of people haven't heard of.
Right. And there's a lot of old cases out there that haven't been solved, aren't there?
Right. Oh yeah. I never run out of material, and I since I work directly with people that are affected by this, they're constantly talking about me and sending me their friends who've had problems, and so I have a 8-week-long waiting list to get on my blog, and that's not even cases that I have found that I want to write about. Those are cases where people have contacted me and said, "Can you help me?" And I had one lady ask me, she goes, "Well, what can you do for me?" Uh-huh. And because she was really nervous about talking to me. And I found out later the reason why she was that way. She had been taken for a ride. These people promised her the world and used her story to further their career, and then left her hanging with nothing. And so she was really nervous, and I told her, I was like, "I can't promise you anything." I said, I will write the story. I will write it in a compassionate way as if it was my loved one that's missing. I will push it out there as far as I can get it to go. And I've built my potential viewership up to 500,000. And that doesn't mean they all read it every week. That doesn't, but I'm waving this case in front of 500,000 people. And I feel if I can keep pulling those kinds of numbers, we're going to start solving some of these cases.
That's true. And so if anyone's out there and you've heard of a case in your local area or in Missouri and you'd like to have some information on it, or you would like to get that out there, well, call in. Call in at 862-9977 or 1-800-375-0056, and we'll be happy to talk about that case.
Sure. Synova, so, just listening to you, I think the type of books you write take a lot of time, don't they? I mean, you do a lot of research. So generally, how much time are you spending? Sometimes you're spending several years before you can complete a book, right?
Yeah. That's kind of the purpose of my case files books. The unorganized crime took me 6 years to research. When you're trying to get documents out of the Supreme Court archives, it takes a while. You can't get it out right away. And so, but then here I am all year long, I am creating this massive content, 52 weeks worth of content, and people want more information about that. So in the meantime, while I'm researching these big books that takes 5 or 6 years to release, I am sending out every year a case files book which compiles the information of the last year's blogs and then any other information that I couldn't include in the blogs. Mm-hmm. And so it gives you kind of a deeper insight into each case that I've written about, because your blogs can't be more than 1,000, 1,500 words. People don't have time to sit there and read that much on their computer. The 500 word blog posts actually get more traction, but there's a lot more that you can't fit into that. So in between my big books, I have my smaller case file books that come out every year. When you really care about people, it makes a difference. And that's, I think, what's so different about the way I do things. People can't imagine why a stranger would care. And I'm like, well, we're supposed to care about other human beings. That's the way my heart tends to, to go. And so she's probably listening. But that one I'm hoping will be solved soon, because everyone knows what's happened. It's one of those everyone knows,
yeah.
But you just got to get the evidence.
Well,
Right.
your dad's a preacher, so you're a preacher's daughter, and so maybe you got his heart.
I hope so. Yeah, he's got a good heart, and so that would be a great honor to say I got his.
Did you do any investigating? So we had 3 girls right here in Springfield that disappeared. What was that? It's probably been 30-some years
92.
or 40-some. When was it?
I believe it's 92.
92.
Yeah. Have you investigated that, or have you? So
Yes, I have, and I have a different conclusion than a lot of people do on that one. I hesitate to say much about it, because if you bring your theories forward too soon, it can cause you a lot of damage to your career and everything. And also it's not really good for the victims' families either. I try to think about them. Janice McCall, she has fought almost 26 years now, and how would she like to hear me say I've got it solved?
Yeah.
And then she get her hopes all up and then find out that I'm just full of it,
Right.
So I try to think about the people, individuals, I wouldn't want that. But yeah, I do have a theory on it, and I'm working on it.
Does law enforcement listen to you? I mean, so like you've got theories, you've done research, you've listened to other people. They've done the same thing, but maybe your approach is different. So does law enforcement listen to you like on that case? I mean, you've got a theory. Have you told them
Yes.
what that theory is?
Yes.
And you and I discuss even a few more details.
Yeah.
So it would be disappointing to me if law enforcement didn't listen to you.
Right.
And another thing I want the listeners to understand is, there's always these high-profile murders and missing people cases,
Right.
but there are so many people that unfortunately get killed or die somehow mysteriously, but they really never make the news.
Right.
And it's just not, if it's not sensational, sometimes the media does not cover it.
Yeah.
And then also sometimes because of timing, there may be something really big going on somewhere else. And so that case was really important to that family.
Oh, yeah.
But it never
It just
makes the
got
news
swallowed up,
because it
yeah.
gets swallowed up by everything else
Right.
that the media has to pick one or two things that they're going to really hit every day.
Right.
And so I'm really glad because you're not looking at necessarily those sensational cases. You're looking at any cold case,
Right.
and you're writing about it, researching about it, asking for witnesses and people to come forward. And so I think that's a great, important service. So the book that I'm going to be giving away today, Unorganized Crime, and it's called A Journey to Redemption. And what number book was that? Was that your
That was actually my third published book.
third published book,
My
okay.
first true crime book.
okay? And it's extremely interesting. So if you want to buy the book, you can buy it on Amazon, or there are some bookstores around Southwest Missouri that carry it. And then also, one of the things that I want to make sure that people know is that this is a true story, and like all the things that she does. But what I was intrigued, I read this book until midnight last night. I just come back from Jefferson City, and it's just kind of tiring to drive 5 hours and spend time up there and then drive back, and so it's really a great book. And maybe we think the man that you wrote about is going to call in today, right?
Yeah, he's scheduled to. So
Okay,
hopefully.
so hopefully he'll call in, but we're going to talk a little bit about that book, and I think we got a caller that's getting ready to call in, and then also we'll talk about your newest book out, and then we want to make sure people know how to find you on Facebook and blogging and everything like that.
Okay.
So, okay, so we'll.
Did you want to talk to her?
I think we've got a caller that's trying to get some information right now. But anyway, get out real quickly. What's your how do the people contact you?
My website is synovainc.com. SYNOVAINK. Yes, I know how to spell ink. That's a pun. I will be incorporated one day, and but it's still going to say INK. My Facebook is Synova Cantrell author page, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram and everything you could imagine. Yeah, try Synova Inc. and you'll probably find me.
I can only do Facebook. I can't imagine doing all these things. You got to be extremely busy all day long, and it's truly amazing.
I can't even do Facebook. I don't know why you guys.
Did we have a caller, John?
I think she's going to call back.
Okay,
cool.
all right, very good.
She really didn't know what time of day you were going to be on. She thought it was later, and I said, no, she's on right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so one more time, tell us how to get a hold of you, how people can get a hold of you.
Website is synovainc.com. Facebook, INK. And Facebook, Synova author page.
And it's SYNOVA.
Yes.
Because I think some people would spell it SINOVA,
Right.
and they're not going to get it.
Right. Synova,
Okay.
SYNOVA. And I'm on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. My email address, if you have a case for me, is synovainc@gmail.com.
Cool. Well, hopefully we get somebody out there today that calls in and talks about it. I know that one of the things that we want to talk about your book, and then we're going to take a break. So we got about a minute and a half. So what about your book, Unorganized Crime? In about a minute. Wait a minute. We may be getting a caller in there, so we're going to take this caller, and then we're going to take we're going to take a break. So we'll see if we can get this first caller.
Yeah, it's Tammy, and I don't know where she's from.
Okay,
Tammy?
Tammy
I'm not
from
sure.
somewhere.
Good morning.
Tammy from Florida.
Good.
Oh, is it Florida?
Yes.
Oh.
Hi,
Hey,
Tammy.
Tammy.
Tammy Downs.
Hi.
Oh,
Yes. Hi. I was hoping that I was calling the right number.
You've got us. You've got us.
Being on the show.
Oh. Yeah, Tammy Downs, I'll tell you about her real quick. Her father is one of those cases that she was told on the 20-year mark that his case was important. It was the anniversary. On the 21st year, she goes back to the media. She told it wasn't sensational enough. Her father was a decorated Vietnam veteran who lived his entire life serving his community, and he was basically killed because he didn't have cash in his pocket by an illegal alien. And I'm sitting here going, what's not sensational about that?
That's right.
So, Tammy, did you have a question for me?
Well, I was just, one, I want to congratulate you on hoping of your book coming out soon, and secondly, that you're to have this opportunity to be on the show, and I appreciate you sharing my dad's story. I just wanted to call in this morning because I saw where you were going to be on, and I just hope that you're being able to get some stories out.
Yes. I hope so. I tell everybody I can, Tammy.
So, Tammy, what was your father's name?
His name is Jack L. Robinson, and he was born and raised in Columbia, South Carolina, and he was also murdered there at the Rosewood Boat Landing.
Oh, we're so sorry. We're so sorry, and we still thank him for his service.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Well, thank you. Yes, he was retired Air Force, and then he also was civil service there at Fort Jackson at the Moncrief Hospital. And that's where he did his final retirement.
So how long did he serve? I guess he must have served quite a while.
He was 25 years in the Air Force, and then he was about 20 years in civil service out there at Fort Jackson.
Well, we want you to know that being a veteran myself, that I sure appreciate all those veterans that came before me, and we certainly hate to hear what happened to him.
And particularly people in Vietnam era, because Jeff and I, that's our area, age that when we were in college, the Vietnam War was going on and things like that. I was in pharmacy school, and I, went through the draft twice, but never had to go because I had a high number and I was still in school. But today, if I wasn't as old as I was, I would certainly serve too. And I sure appreciate anybody that served in the Vietnam War, in a war that was a terrible war that a lot of great young men and women died, and it didn't seem like our government did too much to help our people, and we didn't seem to want to win the war. But the people who fought the war were our heroes.
Amen. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like they recognized him very well either.
No.
No.
And unfortunately, when they came back, they weren't treated well. But people since that time have changed course, and we really do respect the Vietnam heroes and veterans, and so we do try to treat them and give them all the respect that they've always deserved. And so we appreciate you calling in. We're going to have to take a break, but Tammy, we hope you have a great day today.
You do the same.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling in, Tammy.
We're going to take a break, guys, and we'll be right back.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Hey,
we're
Sydney,
doing good.
I think I know you because I stayed up until after midnight last night reading Unorganized Crime. So I know quite a bit about you because I didn't read the entire book, but I started at the first, and then I went to the middle, and then I went to the end, and spent an hour and a half reading the book, and it's tremendously interesting. So appreciate you calling.
You enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I like to tell a lot of people it took her 6 years to write it.
Wow.
And the main thing is because she is very, very documented person.
Well, I can tell it's
everything. Oh, yeah. And that's why it took her so long to write it. The most important thing that when she started writing it, I told her about this Clarence Gideon decision. It was the biggest in the United States Supreme Court back 56 years ago.
Tell the listeners what that exactly. What is that?
All right. What happened was, back in them days, you did not get an attorney. They didn't, I went in front of one judge one time. He said, "Boy, you plead guilty, and I'll send you back to Illinois where you escaped from. I'll plead guilty, give me 25 years hard labor." And it just didn't, you have attorneys back in them days for any type of crime you did. So I wrote a writ to the original court, then went to the Florida Supreme, got denied. and filed at the Supreme Court the same time Clarence Gideon did. It's called a Gideon decision, and my name's Sidney James Hurd underneath it. And what it did, it gave everybody the right to have an attorney, whether you're poor or that. And nowadays, thanks to that decision 56 years ago, everybody has that right.
And that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And what else? It freed a lot of inmates that were wrongly convicted. And I've been blessed. When I was 50 years old, it's in my book, I decided, well, Lord, I tried it my ways 50 years, ain't worked too good, so let's try it your way. And since then, I've had 4 bypasses, all kind of surgery, and I'm 76 years old, still alive. Found out that I'm the youngest person that's ever been in the United States Supreme Court on a handwritten writ of surgery. You couldn't even do it nowadays. So we're trying to talk about some people, maybe get a documentary about, not necessarily the book and everything and about myself, but about that Supreme Court decision, because it's so critical that, when a person gets arrested, they do have that right to have an attorney.
Sure.
And
well, that's a landmark case. Certainly, that's
certainly
one of the most important cases I guess we've ever had.
Right. It is very right.
Yeah.
And what helped me is a lot of times when I was in prison, because my case was in the federal books, and when they finally did put law books in prison libraries, I was able to help a lot of other people because people could look and say, oh, you was in the United States Supreme Court. I've talked to lawyers since our books come out, and they said, 99% of all lawyers have never even filed a writ to the Supreme Court, let alone get one granted. So I feel God did it. I mean,
you're blessed. I read in the book, just like you said, you found God. You're a born-again Christian. Are you still working? Because I noticed that once you kind of straightened out your life and things like that, and you found someone that you could share your life with, and it made new friends, that you were still working at an older age. Are you still working?
I was. Well, recently my health's been kind of bad, where I've got rheumatoid arthritis, and then my eyes, I've gone what they call legally blind, but I get shots every month. And so I used to work at a lot of call centers, and I still have a lot of friends that do that. And I'd love to work. I'm hoping to make.
And you worked for an insurance company too.
Yeah, right. Worked for them. Hometown Benefit. I'll put their name in there. They're right over here now. And when the Obama decision came out, I kind of lost my job in a way. But I'm hoping this year to have to get Synova to help me, of course, because she does most stuff to help me with. Tell you that maybe some of the we have the actual copies from the archives of the Supreme Court, along with the decision to lower me back to Florida, and then Florida sent it back to the courts, and they came up with a law called Criminal Proceeding Rule Number 1. And I like to do law. I love law. I like studying it. And I'm hoping maybe get some of these colleges that might want me to just come in here and give them a pep talk to some of their new students. Or
you would be a great instructor. We're going to have to go. I've got several callers,
Sure.
but you know what? You've done about every crime in the book, it looked like to me, except murder.
Yes.
And thank goodness. But you know what? It just shows people that you're very educated, very smart, and you're using your life for the right thing since 50, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate you calling in today. I love the book. I love your story, and so hopefully people will buy that book, Unorganized Crime by Synova Cantrell. And Sydney, we appreciate you calling in. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, sir.
Have a great 2019.
Good luck to you.
Where are you calling from?
Eastern Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Okay, we're getting a lot of people out of state today. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I'm a follower of Synova, and I support her in any way that I can.
Oh, great.
She's awesome. She's
She does
awesome.
an awesome job.
I had a
We tried
30-day
to
book launch party on Facebook where you just get on and post a little game each day. And I don't care if it was 9 o'clock in the morning when I posted it, if it is midnight I posted it. She got on there and she participated every day. And I'm like, that's the kind of
You don't
fans
sleep?
you need.
No,
that's good.
It was a good break from what I do, though. Actually, Synova found me through a missing persons page group.
Okay.
So we're kind of both involved in.
Yeah, you
missing
kind of work on
people.
those type of situations too.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
write about them. I go try to find them.
Yeah. Well, and
good.
and so you're another one of those angels of people that's just helping other people.
Yeah, and I'm a guardian angel.
Okay, I
A
got
guardian
that.
angel, that's a
Yep.
group that she's involved in.
Oh,
Okay.
I see.
Yeah, Curtis Leewell, the guardian angels from New York.
Good.
They're
Good.
worldwide now.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, that's really good. Well, some of the things that you guys research and do can be dangerous to your life, right? Or to your family.
Yeah.
And so this is something that you know, that I want listeners to know that, you know, what you're doing is really trying to help people and families, but it also is dangerous because you're dealing with people that don't think twice about killing you
Yeah.
or doing bad things. So,
Right.
Yeah, you're dealing with
Yeah.
criminals, and so
Right.
it can be.
Yeah, and
dangerous.
luckily I'm trained, so when I'm out on the streets patrolling, I have self-defense training if it's needed, but we do mainly SciComm.
Hey,
Thank
thanks
you.
a lot. Have a great 2019.
You too.
Thank
All right.
you.
We have another caller.
Do we have another caller, John?
No, we do not.
Okay, well, listeners, we're going to give this book away to the first local person that calls in today, 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056. We've got less than 5 minutes, so someone's going to win this tremendous book. I guarantee you, if you like to read a true story about a crime person who actually just did about everything in the book except murder, it'll be extremely interesting, and you can win this book if you call in. So, Synova, what's the newest book coming out? Is that the FBI book?
That one was released on January 1st.
Oh.
That is Snatched. It's a case files book. That was all my blogs for 2017. But that is about art crime. It's the FBI's top 10 art crimes and more. Because I found, although FBI has 10 top art crimes that they're trying to solve, there's a lot more that I found even more interesting than the top 10. So I added in quite a few. And yes, for those of you in Springfield, I did write a little bit about the museum robbery here in
The
town.
Andy Warhol.
Yeah. And the soup can. So I did write about that. That's in there if you guys like that.
How many pictures did they take?
I believe it took 8
Yeah. But
or
if they-
7 or 8 out of 10.
Something like that. But if
yeah.
they'd taken the whole series, do you
Right.
think they just ran out of time or got scared?
I don't know. I think if they had, if they were hurrying, you would see that the last few they would have, there would have been evidence of it, scuff marks on the wall where they're tearing them down, or, broken glass where they just crammed them out of the screen, out of the frames. There would be evidence that they were in a hurry. There didn't seem to be any evidence that they were in a hurry. So I think, I really feel like whoever did that wasn't maybe an art connoisseur. Maybe they were just looking for drug money, you
Right,
know.
because if they had taken the whole series, it would
Right.
have been worth a lot of money.
Oh yeah, they dropped the value of those screen prints. They dropped them down to a third of the price of what they would have been worth if they just went ahead and took the last two. So I really think I think that's what makes me tend to think it wasn't a professional job. It wasn't someone that was really into art, or they would know those things.
Right.
Well, very good.